Your Power Unleashed. The ancient Roman statesman Lucius Annaeus Seneca said, "Most powerful is he who has himself in his own power." So what we're looking at here today is how you can be more powerful within your own power. So you're having control of your own power. But before we do that, I just want to tell you a little bit of a story. This concerns a dear old friend of mine called John. Now, John was the kind of character who you'd always think was a really brave guy. Always used to sort of lean into the challenges. He was faced to the wind. It seemed like he could handle anything. And he always seemed to have energy. We would all be out for a night out in the town and we're all getting worn down, but he still has bundles of energy and he's still looking for something else to get excited about. And he also had this deep inner confidence, this sense that not an overblown confidence like an arrogance, but just a sense of calmness and power within himself, a comfort within himself, which you could tell that he could handle anything that would come his way. And as a result, of course, success came to him quite easily. So I was a little bit envious, but very much in admiration of John. And now, after many, many years, I've actually worked my way to having that same kind of level of personal power as he had now. Now, we all know somebody who's faster, who's more capable, who's smarter and more successful than us. And it's good to have those people around to help you get inspiration, but at the same time it can be a little bit difficult to compare yourself up against them. But there's one question I want to ask you, and that is, do you want to unlock more of that power from within yourself? So the personal power I'm talking about here is not the power to manipulate others or the power to be better than somebody else. It's all about being the most powerful version of you. The version of you who's quietly confident, who's supremely capable, who's completely unflappable and totally unstoppable. That's the kind of personal power we're talking about. And the incredible thing is, you actually already have this power. It's already inside you. And with this approach that we're going to talk about today, you don't need to spend years and years and years training yourself, whether it's psychologically or spiritual practice, or you have to go out there somewhere to try and find the ideal version of you to bring them back. They're already here. So why is personal power so important? Well, first of all, it's absolutely vital. It's vital for you in terms of your energy and your resilience, your capacity, your capability, your ability to actually face challenges in life. Without personal power, you can be steered by others. You don't have a central point of reference, a balancing point, and you're unable to actually achieve much if you don't have that. And the problem is, we use up most of our energy and our power in living our everyday lives. And when it comes down to working on something that's of greater purpose or something more meaningful, by that point we already ran out of energy doing our normal everyday things. So the rest, if you're looking to strive for more, feels like it's like pushing a rock, or even worse, pushing water uphill. And that way we don't end up living our potential. Now, there's a little bit of a secret here, and I did allude to it already, and that is you already have the power. And I can prove this. Think about a time when there was something you really, really, really badly wanted, and you knew for a fact that you were going to go for it. Remember how that felt inside. And how about another time when you either heard something or saw something that really inspired you, that lit you up from inside? That's you connecting with and resonating with your true potential, with your true power. That's what it feels like, and that's evidence that you have it. But the question is, of course, why can't we access that consistently? Well, it's very simple. You go around with one foot on the accelerator, which is you moving forward in life, and you have your other foot on the brake. You're trailing the brake, and that's slowing you down at the same time. And this is because we all have our internal conflicts, we have our negative reactions, we've got energy draining patterns, we've got negative past experiences, fears, limiting beliefs, unresolved issues, all this kind of stuff which in the old days used to be termed as emotional baggage. And all of that is equivalent to dragging that brake and slowing you down. So if you take for a moment, imagine this cup here. Imagine this cup, absolutely full, is your energy. If it's full, it's 100% energy. Now, if you think about it, you've then got, in terms of reality, you've got, perhaps you'll maybe have an old argument that's going on in the background. Maybe an argument with a parent. Your parent may not be here anymore, but the argument still is. So take a little piece out of that, say 10%. That's being used up for that. Now perhaps you've got some issues around self-worth. Maybe you have some confidence issues, or you don't really believe that you deserve things, and you're fighting against that. You don't agree with it in here, but the feeling is still there. So there's a conflict going on. So take another 10% for that. And maybe you've got a past trauma. At some point you were treated really badly. Maybe you were bullied, or you were treated unfairly, or something unjust happened to you, and that's still going on. You're still affected by it. So take another piece out of there. So we're down to here now. And perhaps some limiting beliefs, some fears about the future. So eventually you end up with this little bit at the bottom. And that's all that you've got left to do everything that you need to do to manage your maintenance, your health, your creativity, your forward motion, your development. Everything comes down to that little bit at the bottom. And that's why you feel drained and you run out of energy and you don't feel like you've got enough to be able to do all the things that you want to do. Now, over the past decade, I've been working with heart-centered professionals such as career executives, doctors, martial arts and yoga instructors, counselors, healers, alternative therapists, light workers, and all of them have the same underlying issue, which was holding them back and slowing them down. And that is internal conflict that was wasting their energy and their power. Now, I developed over those years a system that I term the reaction code, which is a step-by-step process to be able to identify, target, and resolve those energy-sapping reactions. Now, we're not going to have time to go through all the functions and all the tools within the reaction code, but what we will do today is we're going to use the core principles in order to help you to start being able to unleash your power. Now, again, one of the issues about unleashing the power and dealing with our negative reactions and all that stuff that's been sapping our power, humans in general tend to run away from discomfort, from pain, from difficulties. On a whole, that's what we've been taught to do. It's not our fault, it's just how it is. But I want to give to you the first key to start shifting into your power. And that's this one most important attitude. And that is to lean in. When you get a challenge, lean into the challenge. Typically, when something difficult comes along and something painful or something challenging, we tend to try and fight with it, we suppress it, we run away from it. But here, let me give you an example. Imagine you've just gone out, you've just walked outside, and you don't have it's been nice and warm, so you didn't have your coat on, and then suddenly the heavens opened up and you are soaked. Now, you can respond with, oh no, I should have known better, I should have looked at the weather report, I'm so stupid, I should have bought an umbrella, and now look what's happened. This is just typical, this is my typical kind of bad luck, this is the weather is against me, heck, this is definite evidence that the whole world is against me, this is proof. Or you can respond from a perspective of, whoa, okay, that was interesting. Now I'm completely soaked, I can't get any wetter, so I'm just going to carry on doing what I'm doing. Lesson learned for next time. Now, in the first version, what's happened is without realizing it, you've adopted a victim mentality. Something has happened to you that's been out of your control, and it's been done to you. In the second version, you chose to accept this is what's happened, and now I'm going to take up that challenge. I'm going to go to wherever I need to go, soaking wet. This is just what it is. So refuse to be the victim. Choose to face the challenge. As Bruce Lee said, to hell with circumstances, I create opportunities. Now, talking of Bruce Lee, The next aspect that next core principle rather, that I want to step into actually comes from Wing Chun Kung Fu. So you're actually getting a free Kung Fu lesson along with a lesson about unleashing your personal power. Bonus. So these are the key principles in Wing Chun. There's Wing Chun principles. Number 1 is move forward when the way is clear. So this is when you're moving forward in your life. Number 2, and this is a really important one we're going to come back to, is if the way is not clear, then stick and sense. And what that means is, if you run into an obstacle, something isn't, you run into something that you're up against it, instead of having a knee-jerk reaction in the same way that you've always done, instead you stop for a moment and sense what's going on. Where's the force coming in from? Where am I feeling this? What am I noticing? And then number 3 is be the first to change. That comes back to our other attitude about refusing to be the victim and choosing to face a challenge. Be the first to change. Then number 4, finally move forward when the way is clear again. So we're going to focus on the stick and sense part, because when you get something negative happen, like say for instance, you get anger, you might feel the heat building up around your face, or you might feel your hands start to ball into a fist, and tension in your body as your body's getting ready for a fight. Or if, say for instance, you've got some sadness happening, maybe you just feel there's got a grey cloud come over you, and your eyes sort of want to well up underneath, and your throat, you have to swallow in your throat, and you feel pressure in your chest around your heart. Or perhaps you've got a doubt going on, or fear. Then you get that twist in the gut, in the stomach, or you get this cold feeling wash all over you, or your stomach just drops. All of these things are ways in which your body is actually giving you information about where that particular pattern lives. Think of your body like a compass. It has the ability to point you in the right direction. You just have to notice it and pay attention to it. So let's put some of this into practice. Let's take an actual example that you can do right now. Let's have the current rate of inflation. But more specifically, let's think about how the prices are rising all the time. Your shopping is more expensive this week than it was last week, and it'll be even more expensive next week. Through no fault of your own, through nothing that you've done wrong, the value of your bank account is going down. The buying power is just dropping by the minute, even as you're watching this. Think about that for a moment. Think about what that means in the future. Perhaps you're not getting an inflation matching wage rise. Good luck if you are. Good on you. Well done. And the rest of us aren't. So what does that mean for the future? Think, and how is that going to affect you? Think about it for a moment and notice where you feel this. Is it a pressure building up around your head? Is it a tension you can feel around your throat or in your throat? Is it pressure against your chest or weight on your shoulders? Is it some sort of movement going on in your stomach? Just notice, pay attention, stick and sense. So we've already chosen to lean into the discomfort because we're talking about this right now and we're working on this right now. Following from that, we want to stick and sense. So feel, what do you notice? And then you don't need to keep thinking more and more and more about things to bring up more feelings. Once you've got the location, once you've got something there, that's enough. So you want to focus on this thing. Don't want to take on too many things at once. So notice that, focus on that, and then make another conscious decision to allow your subconscious awareness to start dealing with this, to start communicating and working through and resolving this. Now within the reaction code we've got some more sophisticated methods for doing this, but for now this is still going to help make a shift for you. By sticking and sensing, you're already tapping into that deeper awareness. So it becomes much easier for that subconscious element of you to be able to start working with this and communicating with this. And your subconscious knows way more than this does. So it's much easier to let that part of you start working through this. And then bring your attention back to here and now. and think about exactly the same thing, because we want to do this in a scientific manner. Think about exactly the same thing. So we're talking about the inflation, we're talking about price rises, we're talking about how your groceries are costing more today than they did last week, and they're going to cost more next week. We're talking about how your bank account is going down in buying power and value through no fault of your own. You haven't done anything. This is just happening, and what that's going to mean in the future. And just notice. Now, you may well notice that the charge has been reduced. It's no longer as interesting or as exciting or as anger-inducing. You may also notice that you're just not as interested in this particular subject. That's because you've already reduced some of the negative reaction pattern and some of the negative energy that would otherwise hold you back. Congratulations, you've just got back a little bit more power. Now, I've seen amazing and incredible results happening with these processes and techniques over the years. For instance, there was Janet, who was in complete state of overwhelm because she was a single mother of 3 children and trying to run her own business. And she's now resolved all the issues around that, and she's expanded her business, and her kids are doing great. There's also Dr. Jen, who was lost and ill and had lost her purpose. She refound her purpose again, got now out of the wheelchair, published her first book, and now working on the next 7. And then there's also Amal, who was stuck in accountancy work, which she was great at, but she hated. But she couldn't bring herself to leave that because of the fear. And she used these processes, worked through that. She's now moved on to become a spiritual counselor and having a very successful, fulfilling career at this point. So think about it for a moment. What if you could access and overcome and resolve your greatest limitations, your greatest internal limitations? What would you do with that extra energy and that extra power? And what happens if you truly are operating at 100%? Like, if this cup was completely full. So just in summary, in conclusion, we have this incredible power within us. We are holding it back ourselves, and we have the ability to unleash it by doing the following things. First of all, make a decision to take your foot off the bloody brake. Stop slowing yourself down. 2, lean into the challenge. Don't be a victim. Choose to face the challenge. 3, stick and sense. When things come up, when things show up, feel them, sense them, roll with it. Get a sense of what's going on and allow your deeper awareness to start processing that. And with those things already, you'll be able to start unlocking and unleashing your power. So if you've found good value in this video so far, and you have more questions, and please do put your questions in the comments and your feedback in the comments. You can also contact me at info@transformyourworklife.com. And the main thing is, you'll get more out of this by doing it, rather than just switching this off once this ends, think, oh, that was a nice idea, and then move on. Do it. The action is what counts. That's what gets you the results, which is what really counts in the end. So I just want to leave you with one final lasting thought, and that is this: you already have the power. It's just simply a case of releasing it.